are here today talking with Alison Greenberg, who is born and raised in the Denver area, is a documentary filmmaker who recently had the incredible distinction of winning an Academy Award for her role producing a short documentary called Saving Face. And first of all, congratulations to you. What an incredible achievement.
Thank you.
Your day job is as a manager of donor and foundation relations at the Denver Film Society. It must be wonderful to have these two synergistic things going on in your life at the same time.
It's been great. I started off, I went to school in LA, and then I moved to New York, so I was in the two film meccas in the United States, and then decided that I really wanted to move home to Colorado, and I lucked out and met a lot of the right people and have really tapped into the Denver film community, which is growing and is a really great place to work.
Let's start first of all with Saving Face. Why don't you describe to us what it's about and also how it came to the attention of Colorado filmmakers when it's happening a half a world away?
ये वो कमरा है जिधर मुझे जलाया था मेरी जिंदगी खत्म हो गई इस कमरे में
The time is very short right now. She needs surgery. But there is only so much I can do. I'm part of the society which has this disease.
मेरी जिंदगी तबाह हो गई है और किसी को कोई सजा नहीं हुई
तो इसलिए हमने ये उसमें फैसला किया है उसकी कैद होनी चाहिए जिंदगी भर के लिए
मैं कह रहा हूँ डेथ सेंटेंस जिनके ऊपर गुजरी है उनसे कोई नहीं पूछ रहा है
Well, I think maybe I'll start at the beginning, which is where the idea came from, and it's our director, Daniel Youngie, who's a Denver-based filmmaker, heard an interview on the BBC with Dr. Mohammed Jawad, who is one of our main characters in the film, and he had recently performed surgery on a model in Great Britain that was attacked with acid, and he got all this acclaim and press because of it, because he used a brand new technique, and she was very high profile. And so Daniel heard this interview and, heard his name and said, well, that doesn't sound like a normal British name. Maybe he knows what's going on in Pakistan and Bangladesh and India, where acid attacks are very common, up to 200 attacks a year going on in Pakistan. Dr. Jawad is kind of the vehicle for the film, but the film really focuses on two women in particular who were victims of acid attacks and their journey to kind of reclaim their dignity and their self-respect and their freedom from the men who've attacked them. So it deals with a lot of the legal issues going on in Pakistan around these attacks as well as the medical issues.
What has been the end result of this? Have these women gotten justice? Have things changed over there?
It's beginning to. One of our characters did win her case against her husband, and her husband was sentenced to 2 life in prison sentences and was deemed a terrorist under this new law that passed right before her case finished. So she is getting a certain amount of justice. However, the case is being appealed, so it's going to be a long process for her. And she also did have a very successful surgery which restored her nose and her mouth and her eye. Which is a big deal. Our other character is still continuing to have surgeries. She actually got pregnant during the filming, so she wasn't able to have the surgery that we had originally hoped she would. But we were able to get both of them safe homes recently, so that's a step forward.
And are you still in touch with them? Are you still involved in their lives?
The film was getting all this attention, and we decided it was a really great opportunity to continue the work, continue the conversation, and the first step was really procuring the safe homes for the women.
The film has not been seen there yet.
No, it hasn't been publicly screened. It's been privately screened in Pakistan, but not publicly screened in Pakistan. But it has been screened all over the world.
And right after the Academy Awards, you took it to The Hague?
There's a film festival in The Hague called Movies That Matter, and it's all about documentary films, social justice films, and so we went there and presented the film at The Hague and spoke in front of the International Criminal Court, and we also had screenings at the Human Rights Film Festival in London.
So how long did it take to make this film, and how did you raise the funds for it?
I would say it took probably a little over 2 years to make the film, and what's interesting about a documentary is it's really difficult to get that first batch of money. That first part, I think raising about $65,000 took us about 6 months. And then HBO came on board. We continued to show them clips of the film, showed them what we'd been filming. They said, here's a little bit of money, come back, show us more. Here's a little bit of money, come back, show us more. And finally, they bought the film.
So how did your love for documentary filmmaking get started? And is there anything unique to your Colorado childhood and upbringing that served well in this capacity?
I've known for a long time that there was kind of two great passions in my life, and one was film and the other one is political science and social issues. Both have been instilled in me by my parents, and for a long time I was trying to figure out how to bring those two pieces together. So I was thinking about becoming a journalist and going into broadcast news, and I studied film at USC, and at USC the focus is very much, you know, the big budget Hollywood filmmaking. It's in LA. But I took a course which was about the power of documentary film in changing social issues. And there's a number of documentaries that have come out in the last 20 years that really focus on that and have been used as tools by a lot of the international criminal courts and peace tribunals. And I saw this as a really great opportunity to be a storyteller, but also be connected to the issues that matter to me.
So winning an Academy Award and then going to Hollywood probably could not be any more different than the life these women are living. The contrast just incredible.
Yeah, you know, go out to LA and get fitted for an Oscar dress and all these kind of things that you don't really think about when you're a documentary filmmaker.
And now life has calmed down a little bit more?
Sort of.
Because?
I'm still working on a number of projects. I have actually 4 other films in various stages of production, some with Daniel and some with some other teams around the country. And also we recently passed a film incentive, which is going to allow for more larger budget films to come to Denver, to be made in Denver. And I think our film commissioner for that, Donald Zuckerman, he is great. He came on board about a year ago and is really pushing things forward here in the film community. So there's a lot of momentum happening right now.
So you're really optimistic about it becoming a bigger part of our city's landscape?
Definitely. I think there's a huge opportunity for a lot of new jobs, and I also think there's a lot of talent here, and I think the Film Commission and the Denver Film Society is working hard to keep those filmmakers in Colorado, proving that you can do what you want to do and still have a nice quality of life.
So you mentioned that you have several projects in the works, but what are the 1 or 2 that we might look for in the nearer future that you see as?
So Daniel and Davis and I have been working on a film about a school in Jamaica called Alpha Boys School, which has produced some of the most famous Jamaican musicians of the last 60 years. And we're pretty close to finishing that film, so I'm not totally sure when it will come out, but that would probably be the first one that you'll see from our team. So.
Great. And has that been just as uplifting and inspiring?
Very different, much more lighthearted. But again, these people, a lot of the musicians, you know, were orphans, came from very hard backgrounds and used music as their outlet to express themselves. So it is very uplifting, and it's a very positive story. And these guys are great. They're 80 or 70 years old and still performing all over the world.
Is there a place that is your favorite or that has been particularly inspiring to you?
I spent a semester living in South Africa. And I actually would think that place is actually what solidified me wanting to make documentary films, because it's just this really interesting, complex environment, and there's so many stories going on there and such a rich tradition, some positive, some negative, and it's an incredibly beautiful place just in terms of the landscape. So everything about it was really fulfilling and interesting, and I would love to go back.
So for young filmmakers here in Denver, going to school, taking film classes, do you have any advice for them?
I would say just be really diligent and have a thick skin. I think you just need to know it is a really tough industry. It's a tough industry no matter where you go, but even harder being in a place that's not LA or New York. And the jobs do exist, but sometimes you might have to do things you don't want to do, you know, start off as an associate producer and move your way up. And you just have to be patient and really work at it.
Well, thank you very much, and congratulations to you. Wonderful job. We'll look for you again next year.
I just definitely tell people to come out for the festival. I think that is actually a great way to see what's going on in the Denver community in terms of film.
So if people want more information about the films and the festival, where can they go?
If they're interested in the festival, they should go to denverfilm.org. I also have a personal website where they could learn about my films, and that's greenlandia.com.